What's going on? Travis here, trainaggressive.com, coming at you, doing a video here talking about unbroken and if it's a smart thing to do. Should you be going unbroken with your different movements? This is a question I get a lot from CrossFitters, competitive fitness people, and what it comes down to is a couple different things. You want to break it up into two different categories, all right? So number one, competition. So if you're doing CrossFit competitions, fitness challenges, different things like that, you want to break it up into that category. And then we've got training, so normal training sessions, all right? When it comes to going unbroken, number one thing you want to start with is inside your training session. And you want to do this because you want to figure out where you're at in regards to your different capacities, all right? So when to go unbroken in your training. And the reason you want to do this in your training, all right, and I'll get to some specific examples here in a second, but number one, it's going to work your threshold, all right? So if you're to do a training session, let's just take classic workout, Fran. So you got 21, 15, 9 reps of thrusters and pull-ups, all right? Most people can do that unbroken. Let's say it was a heavy Fran, and we're doing 135-pound thrusters, so heavier thrusters. Should you go unbroken? Well, in your training session, you should push it to the limit and you should try to go unbroken, even if that's going to force you to go a little bit slower, because it's going to work that overall threshold. You're going to kind of build that threshold up and it's going to train that mindset. So doing 21 unbroken thrusters at 135, it's going to really train and hit that mental side of things as well. So working threshold, we're increasing that, training mindset. And then also what this does is, let's say that you're going for 21 unbroken thrusters, but you hit your limit around 15. So you know that's kind of where your limit is. You can kind of determine your overall capacity for whatever movement that is. And as I'm using the example here, 135-pound thruster and Fran, you know, that's a certain example, but we could also use like a power snatch from the ground, power clean. So how many unbroken reps can you do until you absolutely can't do any more? So that's another reason you want to do it in your training, because you're testing out where your capacity is. All right. Bottom line is, all right, training is to get you better for competition. All right. So in training, why would you want to break it up? All right. If you had the ability to go unbroken with a certain movement, I would definitely recommend doing it. There are a few rules that I'll go over here in a second, but in training sessions, you should try to go unbroken as best you can, all right? And because that gets you better. It's going to get you better overall. So when you go over into a competition, you're going to know your capacities, your threshold's going to be increased from pushing it in your training, and you're going to do better, all right? So crossing over into the competition side of things, should you go unbroken? Number one is, yeah, it's probably faster, but if we hit failure, it's going to end up being slower. So there's a rule with that, all right? So if you're going to be going faster, if you're going to be doing unbroken reps, so let's just say that we're doing, there's 30 snatches in a workout, all right? Should you try to do all 30 snatches unbroken, or should you break them up into singles? If you know there's more work involved in the workout, what should you do? Number one, it is going to be faster to do them unbroken, because if you drop the bar, you got to reset and go again. So here's the kicker. If you're going to be going faster, instead of doing singles, think of it as doing small chunks. All right, so let's go back to an example of 30 snatches in a workout. All right, instead of attacking them all in 30 unbroken reps, attack those in 5s or maybe even 3s. But the rule is, once you drop the bar, you need to be back on the bar within 5 seconds. Within 5 seconds. So you're taking a 5-second rest. Because if you think about it, let's say you do 5 snatches, takes you 7 to 10 seconds. You drop the bar, you wait 5 seconds, you pick it back up, boom, you hit another 5. All right, so if you think about that, we're getting about 10 reps done in about 30 seconds. All right, is that going to be faster or slower than doing singles? Just doing 1 rep at a time, dropping, picking up, dropping, picking up. Because when you do singles, you need to be going right back to the bar, picking it up, and going right into it, all right? So those are a couple different things to think of when you're in a competition more specifically. if you should be going unbroken. It is going to be faster, but just know if it's going to cause more failure, longer rest periods, then you're better off going with singles or smaller chunks than big time unbroken sets. All right? This is where knowing your capacity becomes very, very important when we come into a competition. This is taking us back to the training. So in your training, that's why you don't want to be going to singles or just smaller sets. You want to be pushing that capacity so you kind of know where you're at, where your limits are, and you know that. So bottom line, in a competition, all right, better is going to be better. So you got to know kind of where you're at. Unbroken sets, singles, what's going to be faster to you, what's going to allow you to stay as efficient as possible and get the work done fast. All right? So a couple different ways to break it down with your unbroken movements. Now, obviously I used a couple examples, so thrusters and freeing, pull-ups. Obviously that goes with barbell movements, and then we got our body weight movements. All right, so for barbell movements, a couple different rules that you want to think about when going unbroken is number one, how many maximum reps can you do with complete efficiency with form and technique. All right, once your form and technique starts to break, that's when you have to break the set. All right, if you can do 20, 30 unbroken reps of a certain movement when it calls for it in a competition or a workout, go for it. But if your form's starting to break down, done. That is a rule, all right? Because once you start pushing past form and technique, efficiency is out of the window, that's when you really start to hurt yourself, not only injury-wise, but also energy-wise, all right? You're just gonna spend a lot of extra energy trying to get that movement done with little to no efficiency, all right? So a couple different rules with your barbell movements. That includes kettlebell movements, dumbbell movements, any type of weighted movements. Now with body weight movements, simple rule on that is you've got to know where your red line is, all right? So again, if a workout calls for, let's say you're starting off with 30 pull-ups or chest-to-bar pull-ups, is it going to be smarter for you to do all 30 chest-to-bar pull-ups and just totally tax yourself out? All right? If you're very efficient with that movement and you know you can carry on after that, go for it. Go unbroken. But if you know you're going to be hitting a red line, when you hit a red line with body weight movements, that movement's pretty much gone because those muscles are taxed out, all right? So you want to avoid red line by all means necessary. So going back to the example, let's say you have 30 chest-to-bar pull-ups in a workout, you're going to want to be as efficient as possible. So you might think about doing 3s, doing 5s, 6s, maybe sets of 10. Again, this is kind of where you need to know your capacity. So you need to know how many reps can you pop off of that movement comfortably, drop off, maybe rest a couple seconds, jump right back up on the bar and continue that movement, all right? So that's where training, competition, that all mixes into one another, but training is where we really want to push that unbroken with our movements, all right? So hope that helps you out, pushes your ability to compete to the next level. So Travis with trainaggressive.com, make sure you go to trainaggressive.com, subscribe to our newsletter, and as always, go 110% ham, live, and train aggressive. Travis, I'm out.